smiling, right? That's the reason I was saying, no, our video should be on so that we can all see each other, feel the energy. Correct? Okay. Like I always say, Zoom is good, but then the physical interaction is always better, right? Where we can see each other. Correct? Right? Okay, great. So I'll take maybe an hour or so, maybe a little more than an hour. Let's see how it goes. Okay. So before I start, let me share a bit about my journey. Okay. How did I start? And so I hail from a very small, a very small place called Angul in Odisha. Okay. And I come from a business family. My father has been a businessman. He was a civil contractor, right? So after my graduation, I did my MBA and all, and started my career with a company called GE Capital. Okay, so I have a short and sweet career of 5 years with GE and 5 years with Barclays. Okay, and if you ask me, I have been brought up in an environment where, since childhood, especially my mom, okay, she was like, "Beta, bada hoke kuch bhi karna, business mat karna." Okay, so that has been my upbringing, right? And the east side of India, थोड़ा ज़्यादा है, job wala culture is more, right? Like Gujarat and all, people are more business oriented, right? So, but this side of the country is more job oriented. Okay, Odisha, Bengal, Bihar, this side, right? Okay, so I come from that background. So business was never in my scheme of things, right? And I was बोलते ना, good students, so good means sincere student, I would say. More than good, I was a sincere student. So that's how I worked in the corporate also. Right, I was very sincere with my work. So God's blessings, grew well, did well for myself in the corporate. And when you're doing well, you're earning well, good, everything is going good. So why to do business, right? Everything is going good. So I was just going with the flow. Okay, right? And Barclays was a great place to work. So I joined there as a AVP. I did some 4 different roles in my 5 years. So going was fine, if you ask me. I had no complaints as such from the corporate world. Right. Now I'll tell you how the business happened. Okay. So 2-3 things. One was, it was my wife who actually started the business. Right. So what happened in 2010? So I was blessed with twins. I have a boy and a girl. Right. And when my kids were born, obviously my wife had to take a break from her corporate career. And she's somebody who can't stay at home. She is definitely, she has loads of energy. That energy has to be channelized. So she was at a juncture where she was very clear, नौकरी तो नहीं कर सकते with 2 kids, okay, but कुछ तो करना था. Now she was not knowing what to do, right? And my referee, his name is Manish Kumar. So all of you would know Manish Kumar. Some of you would have attended his module Why Network Marketing yesterday. So Manish and me are batchmates from Xavier's, where we did our MBA, and we were together in Barclays. So you can understand, साथ में हमने पढ़ाई किया है, साथ में 5 साल काम किया. So we were like good friends, right? So Manish was the one who started in QNet first, okay. And that time what was happening was there was a lot of turbulence in Barclays. So 2009 recession, Barclays was laying off people left, right, and center. So every 1 or 2 months layoffs were happening, okay. And so we were going through a tough time. So job security was a big concern those days for bankers, right? So we were going through that phase. So obviously, I was at that thing. Business was not in my scheme of things, but there was a lot of insecurity in the corporate world. Okay, that's the phase I was in that time. Okay, and that is when Manish started in QNet. And I was being a good friend, I was one of the first person he approached. And I remember he started showing me the plan. And in 15 minutes, I understood something to do with network marketing, and I ran away. Okay, so how many of you were like that? Averse to network marketing? Oh, superb. We are like-minded people. So I was one of them. Okay. भाग गया मैं, honestly बताऊं, भाग गया जिसको बोलते हैं, right? And उसके बाद what was my role? My role was to keep poking Manish, right? कि कितने member जोड़ लिए, उसको ये किया कि नहीं, इससे बात किया कि ना. I used to give him advice basically, like consultants give advice, na? Correct? So it was never in my scheme of things. Now what happened once, after 9 months from that episode, one fine day Manish quit his job. And when he quit his job, I thought he's going somewhere else. But then later I came to know he's going full-time into QNet. And that was a shock of my life. Like, how can somebody sensible like Manish, who's like a general manager in Barclays, okay, quitting his job, getting full-time into network marketing. Right? And that day when I shared with my wife was the one, she said, okay, I want to do something. You don't even know what he is doing exactly. You are only saying something like Amway. So let's meet. Okay. So that's how we met, Manish. And she was the one who took the decision to get started. Okay. So if you ask me, I'm more like a hot zone sign up, right? So I had no intention of doing the business. So because my wife started, I started. Correct? Okay. Now let's understand what was my situation back then. So I was at a juncture in life where I was not seeing job as a very long-term thing. I'll tell you why. Because by then I was at a decent position in the corporate. Now what happens as you grow higher, right? What happens with every promotion, I was losing an hour from my personal life. So here I had a family with twins. So my work was what? My life was what? Get up in the morning, 8 o'clock, leave home, reach office by 9:15. Okay. 6 o'clock, it's foolish to leave office in Bombay. So leave by 7:15, 7:30, reach home by 9 o'clock, have dinner. Okay. Watch maybe something, half an hour, chit chat, 10 o'clock, go to sleep. Next day, again, the same thing, right? This was life. 10:30 sleep. Next day morning, get up at 6 o'clock. This was a life actually, right? Okay. And what was a reward used to give to us, ourselves? Maybe one international vacation a year, one domestic vacation a year. Correct? That was what life was all about. Okay. So I was like, is it what we are born for? This is what I have to do for the next 20, 30 years of a life. So my wife started in QNet. And I got the exposure, I started meeting people like Sachin, Bijoy, Manish, right? And they are all quit their jobs. Like all of them are doing really well. So when I saw them, I said, yaar, ये तो amazing life है इनका. आराम से उठते हैं. Okay, they're having tea at 8 o'clock in the morning while I'm driving to bumper traffic, right? So slowly, I started getting a buy-in into the business. Now I'll tell you my challenge. The challenge was, now let's understand today, do you agree that we live in a world where we have so many opportunities, right? Correct? I don't think our parents' generation had so many opportunities, but our generation, we have so many opportunities, right? In jobs, in businesses, there are so many, right? Now, there's a good thing. We have a lot of opportunities, but what's the bad thing? I'll tell you what's the bad thing. Like I remember, I told you, I come from a very small place. So when I was a kid and I went shopping, right? For me, shopping was so easy as a kid. You know why? Because in a village, when you go to shop, there are only, like I have to buy a shirt, there are only 3 colors, right? White, gray, brown. There are no other colors, right? Correct? And maximum blue, huh? White, okay? White, gray, brown, and blue. 4 colors. You choose one. But today, when you go to a shop, there is red, there is purple red, there is pink, there is, and women have given so many number, magenta, I don't know what all colors, right? Correct? Okay. So when we have more options, do you agree we have more confusion? Correct? So I feel our generation is a confused lot. Okay. So today what I'm going to talk about is this, that why did I choose QNet? Okay. Why didn't I continue in my corporate world? I had a decent experience. I had a lot of business ideas. Okay. I could have done something in my banking field where I have the domain expertise, right? Where I had 10 years of experience. Okay. So that is what I'm going to talk about. That why QNet? Why not something else? Why not a job? Or why, like if you see Sachin, all of us quit our jobs in less than a year's time. Correct? So that's what I'm going to talk about. Deal? Done? So I'll use a PowerPoint. So just give me a moment. Okay. Is it visible? Okay. So what I'm going to cover is something called Abpq. Right? So I'll tell you what is Abpq as we go. Okay. So let's look at what are the options in our life. So first, let's say you are wanting to do a business. You all have started a business. Okay. Now let's compare it with a traditional business. Option A. So option A is what? A traditional business we are talking about. And let's say I'm talking about a business where, let's say we want to target a business where we want to earn 1 lakh rupees a month. Fair enough? Right? 1 lakh rupees a month. Okay, I'm looking at a business where I can earn 1 lakh rupees a month, which is like about 15 lakh rupees a year pre-tax. Okay, it can be what? It can be anything. It can be a restaurant. It can be, if like I'm from banking, it could be starting a DSA or a DST, or it can be, a boutique or a small retail shop. It can be anything. Okay, so mota, let's say 1 lakh rupees a month is my target. Now, to start a business where I can earn, let's say 1 lakh rupee of profit per month, what's the kind of turnover I need to do? You understand turnover? So what is the kind of sales I need to do? You have to make a 1 lakh rupees profit. Okay, then I need to do a turnover at least 4 to 5 lakh rupees. If the margin is 20 to 25%, at least 5 lakh rupees ka sales I need to do. Correct? Okay, like if I'm running a restaurant, okay, and 20 to 25% is my net margin after paying salaries and everything. Okay, so I need to do 5 lakh rupees of sales to take home a profit of 1 lakh rupees. Correct? Okay. Now, a business like this, which gives a turnover of 5 lakh rupees a month or 60 lakh rupees a year, okay, what's the kind of investment I need to do? So the kind of investment I need to do is about 15 to 20 lakh rupees. Right? Given a small restaurant, if I do, okay, I have to pay a security deposit, I have to take it on, I have to, do up the place, right? So 15-20 lakh to lagenge for a, business where I can make a lakh of rupees. Correct? Okay. Like even if I take a, opening a boutique or something, again, I need to pick up a shop. I need to pay the security deposit. I need to do the interior. Okay. Lighting, put a AC. Okay. AC itself will be 50,000 to a lakh of rupees, right? So all doing that, it's about 15 to 20 lakh rupees. Okay. Then what is rotation? Rotation is, again, this is a terminology not so familiar with people who have been jobs, but business people would know that. But how many times I'm rotating actually? Okay, so a rotation of 4 times a year is a pretty decent rotation. You ask any businessman, right? A 4 times is very good. Okay. Now, let's see what all it takes to set up a traditional business. क्या क्या चाहिए होता है ट्रेडिशनल बिजनेस को सेटअप करने के लिए? चाहिए क्या क्या? ओके, तो सबसे पहले क्या चाहिए? वी नीड अ आइडिया. Okay, we need an idea or a vision. Okay, so idea can be simple thing like a restaurant also. It can be anything, but we need an idea. We need a vision, right? And in today's world, okay, ideally the idea has to be a little unique in nature. Correct? Okay, everybody is looking at a unique idea so that I can differentiate myself from others. Okay, right? Now, this some people have, some people don't have, right? But typically a good business would always start with a good idea. दूसरा क्या चाहिए? दूसरा चाहिए पैसा, कैपिटल. ओके, जो हम बात कर रहे थे थोड़ी देर पहले कि कुछ भी बिजनेस स्टार्ट करने के लिए, यू हैव टू स्टार्ट एनी बिजनेस, वी नीड टू हैव, वी नीड टू इन्वेस्ट, राइट? वी नीड टू पुट इन अ सर्टेन अमाउंट ऑफ स्टार्टअप कैपिटल, जिसको बोलते हैं, राइट? लाइक सेटिंग अप द होल शॉप, और you need a place to operate, you need to take up the place on rent, right? If you want to, like, if you are talking a restaurant, you might have a kitchen, the equipments of the kitchen, right? So whatever you start, you need to put in a decent amount of capital. Okay, then a big thing is setting up the company. Like, you need to have a lot of licenses. Okay, you have to do the registration. Like, I have a friend who started a restaurant. If I'm not mistaken, to start a restaurant, you need about 12 plus licenses, different kind of licenses, right? So talking to the various government departments, applying for the licenses, getting those certificates, uske piche bhagna, usko chase karna, that's a completely different task, completely different ballgame. It takes time to do all that. Okay, time, headache, follow up, you know how it works, right? Getting a license and everything. Correct. Then you need at least a small office. Okay, if not anything else, you at least need a peon, even if you're starting a small business, right? And obviously, like we discussed, any business, any traditional business would require a basic infrastructure, right? Okay, the place, tables, chair, setting up the whole thing, AC, this, that. Okay, so this is, and then for any traditional business, you would also need skill and expertise. Correct? Like I come from a banking background, so the expertise that I had was banking sales. That is the department, that is the things I came from. Okay, so every business requires a certain kind of skill. However, the problem is, I'll tell you what. See, in corporate, we are an expert in certain field. Like, for example, some of you may be from IT background. So your expertise is what? Coding, maybe, let's say, software programming or coding. Or let's say you come from a, you're a HR background. So your expertise is HR. Okay. Or you are a sales guy. So your expertise is sales. Now, what happens is we come with a certain skills or expertise. But when we start a business, a lot of us, we start a business basis that skill. Okay. But you know what? A business is beyond a certain skill. So I'll give you an example. Okay. So let's say somebody is a very good chef in a restaurant. Very good chef. He really cooks well. So what would be his natural progressions? Let's say this guy who's a chef in a restaurant, he's a head chef in a restaurant or whatever, right? After a point of time, he says, "Yaar, kab tak khana banaoga? I want to start my own business." So tell me, for a person like this, who's a chef, for him, when he thinks of starting a business, kya dimag mein aayega? What will come to his mind? I'll start my own restaurant. Correct. So what is his skill? His skill is cooking. He's a good chef. His skill is cooking. Now with that, he's starting a restaurant business. But you know what? Running a restaurant business is not only about cooking, right? Cooking is a very small part of running a restaurant. And this is what a lot of people get it wrong. So a lot of us who are in jobs and we have a certain expertise, we feel that with that expertise we started. But a business has multiple things, right? So when you're running a restaurant, you should know how to handle a customer, how to serve, okay, the billing, how to manage the logistics, khana kaise aayega, right? How to manage the demand and supply. There's so many things, right? Correct. And this is where काफी लोग fail कर जाते हैं, right? Because a business requires multiple skills. Correct. Okay. Now, what are the realities of a business? Let's understand. So the realities of a business, traditional businesses, सबसे पहले चीज आज के डेट में, when you start a business, आपको talent चाहिए, right? You need people. Okay, you have to hire people. And this is one of the toughest things in today's world. Especially कोई नया business कोई join नहीं करना चाहता, right? So जब नया कुछ start करते हो, is it easy to hire people when you don't have any credibility? No, right? Correct. अच्छा, आपने hire भी कर लिया. Is it easy to retain? Right? Let's say you start a small IT company. First of all, it's not easy to hire people. Even if you hire, a lot of new businesses, they become a training ground. So लोग वहां पे सीखते हैं, 3-4-5 महीना ट्रेनिंग लेते हैं और कहीं और चले जाते हैं. They go to some other place which pays better or is a better brand name. Right? Let's forget this kind of skill. Even today, a non-skilled calm, right, is so difficult. Like even hiring a laborer is so difficult these days. Correct. So these are the realities of a business. It's not easy to hire talent and retain them also. Then another big reality of business is account receivables and payables. Now, what do I mean by this? So if you look at any traditional business, so traditional business में there is something called credit. हर business credit पे चलता है, right? Like for example, FMCG company, okay, delivers the goods to the shop, the retail shop. Does the retail shop immediately pay? Answer is no. There's a credit-free period, जिसको बोलते हैं, 45 days or 60 days or 90 days. Correct. So when you are doing business, right? So once you deliver your product or deliver your service, do you get the payment immediately? The answer is no. Like I come from a banking world. Like when you used to, like for example, somebody said DSA. DSA is what? Direct selling agency. जो आपको कार्ड वार्ड के कॉल आते हैं ना, क्रेडिट कार्ड ले लीजिए, पर्सनल लोन ले लीजिए, right? So the DSAs call you, right? Now when the loan get disbursed, the bank pay immediately? No. The bank pays maybe 1 month down the line, 2 months down the line, right? So there's a credit-free period. So every traditional business, typically, they work on a credit period. Now, क्या हमेशा पैसा मिल जाता है? No, right? This is one of the biggest pain. Like my father, I told you, he was a civil contractor. So काम तो complete कर देते थे, और उसका पेमेंट आने में लगता था 6 महीना, 7 महीना, 10 महीना, एक साल. वो भी after you might be forced to pay under the table also, right? Correct, right? And trust me, this is not easy because like in my banking career of 10 years, I've done 1.5 years of collections. These are one of the toughest work in today's world, right? So a lot of businesses, they make money, but you know what? The money is only on the paper. हाथ में पैसा नहीं आता है, राइट? तो पैसा दे मेड द मनी, इट्स ऑल ऑन द इन द मार्केट जिसको बोलते हैं, करेक्ट? So you need to have a collections department. You need to have expertise to get the money back, actually, right? Okay. Then another big reality of a traditional business is there's no mentorship, right? Okay. Is there a support structure? No. Like, for example, let's say today you start a business. Let's say again a restaurant business, for example, right? Now tell me one thing: will there be somebody guiding you? Unlikely, right? Correct. And this is one of the biggest, I would say, a negative point of a traditional business, right? So when we start, it is completely on trial and error, right? Okay, हम बोलते हैं ना, हमको खुद हाथ पांव मार के सीखना पड़ता है, correct? We have to figure it on our own because there is no mentorship, there is no support structure for a traditional businessman, right? So it is completely on hit and trial. And you know what? So in this process of hit and trial, this hit and trial may take actually ages. Okay, so let me explain what do I mean by this. Okay, जैसे example है, जैसे there's a watch, एक घड़ी है. So घड़ी का objective क्या है? So घड़ी का objective है सही time दिखाना. Objective of a watch is to give the right time, correct time, correct? Okay. So if I compare a watch with a business, what is the objective of a business? To give profits, right? A successful business is, the objective is to give profits. Like a successful watch is one which gives the correct time. Now if you open a watch के अंदर ना बहुत सारे levers होते हैं गोल गोल, right? There are so many levers, right? And tell me, in those levers, अगर एक lever भी खराब है, will you give the right time? No, right? मतलब हर एक lever सही से move होना चाहिए, तब जाके वो घड़ी सही टाइम दिखाएगी. Similarly, in a business also have so many levers, जो गोल गोल घूमते हैं ना, levers. So what are these levers? So one lever is sales, another lever is marketing, another lever is collections, another lever is pricing, another lever is customer service, right? Another lever is accounting, costing, collections, right? So for a business, it will only give profit when all these things are working in tandem, right? Now what happens is, in a hit and trial process, most people, I would say 95% people, they never get this equation right. तो क्या होता है कि आप जब हिट एंड ट्रायल में अगर वो सारा सही से नहीं चल रहा, तो क्या हो रहा है? आपका नुकसान हो रहा है ना हर महीने. यू आर इन लॉस, right? Now a businessman, how long can he take a loss? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 6 months? So statistically, 90% businesses, they shut down in less than 1 year's time. 90% businesses. Because they can't take a loss. They are not Ambani's, right? They have deep pockets. They can sustain a loss for 4 years, 5 years. Correct? And you know what? The 10% एक साल क्रॉस करते हैं. In the next 4 years, out of this 10%, another 90% shut down. Which means 1 out of 100 businesses, they cross 5 years. Correct? Okay. So this is the reality, right? Like, my father has been a businessman. He was in the business for a good 35, 40 years. I think he never got the equation right because he never had mentorship. He was hardworking, very sincere, very honest, but he never had support structure. And this is one of the biggest disadvantage of a traditional business, the way I look at it. Correct? Like, I have so many friends from the corporate world who started on their own. Most of them are back to the corporate world. 1-2 साल उन्होंने बिजनेस किया, सब आप वापस नौकरी में चले गए. Correct? Then break even, profitability. Now for a traditional business, typically कितना लगता है? 2-3 साल लगता है break even करने के लिए. Average, if you ask me, 3 to 4 years. Correct? Then a big thing is scalability. Now what do I mean by scalability? So scalability का मतलब है कि अब एग्जांपल लेते हैं, आपने एक रेस्टोरेंट चालू किया. ओके, आप दिल्ली में हो, you're in Delhi, you start a restaurant, right? Now what are your chances that restaurant will have multiple branches, okay, and you will have multiple branches across India and across the world. High chances, maybe that restaurant will be restricted to that one outlet only, right? कितने लोग multiple outlet खोल पाते हैं, right? So what is the scalability? Hardly anything, right? Correct. So most businesses वो एक जगह में ही सीमित हो जाता है, right? It gets limited to only one geographical location, right? Now what happens if you're limited by the geography? Okay, if you're limited to a particular area, okay, like for example, if you're a restaurant, what is your catchment area? A restaurant catchment area is maybe 1 kilometer or 2 kilometer maximum, not more than that. I will not travel 10 kilometers to another place to have a food unless it's really special, right? Okay, at least I'll not travel to another city to have food, right? Correct. So similarly, if you have another, let's say forget a restaurant, you have a shop or your boutique or your salon, right? Even a salon has a catchment area of 1 to 2 kilometers, right? So if you see most traditional businesses, scalability is an issue. So if your business is not scalable, can you earn unlimited money? The answer is no. Like for example, if you start a salon, can you earn crores by a salon? Unlikely, right? It will take a crore to set up a salon, good quality, top ends, a Tonya guy kind of a salon. It will cost close to a crore to start. But can you make a crore in a year? The answer is no. Unlikely. Correct? Then risk versus return. What do I mean by this? So if you see, most businesses, right, higher bolte na, this is old saying, higher the risk, higher is the return, right? So if you think that the return is good, then obviously the risk is good. Now, what's the point I'm trying to make over here is that if you look at a traditional business, okay, a traditional business, one bad year can wipe out everything, right? Okay, something goes wrong, right? Your whole investment, everything can go for a toss. And if you see, this is exactly what we saw in COVID. क्या हुआ COVID में? COVID में, if you see, 20 साल पुराना business, 20 years old business, 15-year-old business, 25-year-old business, right? I know I was in Bangalore that time. There was a restaurant, okay, which was like there for 20, 25 years. Okay, and today it's no more there. Correct? So that's the risk with a traditional business. Okay. And then it's person-centric, right? It is completely dependent on you, the person who started the business, right? So, banda hai to dhanda hai, right? Till the time the person is involved, the person is there, the business is working. Okay. If the person is, for whatever reason, is not able to work, will he make money? No. For example, let's say there's a real estate agent doing well. वो एक महीना बीमार हो गया, will he make money? No, right? Correct. You run a salon, for example. Okay, if you can't work for 2 months, can you make money? No, because the business is dependent on that person, right? Correct. Then what about work timings? Can you do it? Can you do a traditional business along with your current job? Not possible, right? Correct. Because any traditional business requires a lot of time investment, right? 3-4 घंटे लगा के आप traditional business को नहीं चला सकते हो. You need to commit at least 9 to 10 hours. Correct. And can you quit once you start? Not at all. If you start up, let's say for example, आपने 20-25 लाख देके एक business start किया है, can you quit? No, right? Correct. It's like riding a tiger. Correct. Okay, एक बार आप tiger पे बैठ जाते हो, right? Can you get down? No, tiger खा जाएगा, right? Correct. So a traditional business is exactly like that. And the more the money you put in, the more is your, there's no way you can quit, right? Even if you're making losses, you have to keep floating it. लोग क्या करते हैं, market से पैसा उठाते, they take money from the market, they do whatever possible to keep it afloat, and that is how they go further down the drain, right? वो गड्ढा खोदते रहते हैं, right? And then the big question, after you, who? Are you creating a legacy? Right? A lot of people think they're creating a legacy, but you know what? If the next generation, if they don't want to get into that business, then what happens? So the day you want to retire, maybe your business is doing very well. Okay. But let's say your son or daughter doesn't want to do that, right? हो सकता है ना? They don't have any, like, for example, you might be running a salon, but your son, daughter might not be wanting to run a salon, right? They want to do something else. They want to maybe move out of that place, right? Correct. Like, for example, the place I belong, I remember one of my friend, they had a big sweet shop in that place. Very, very good, big sweet shop, right? बहुत चलता था वो. But my friend, he was never interested in sitting in the shop. उसको रहना ही नहीं था वहां. So today, what has happened? That shop is hardly, is there, but it's hardly there. Nobody goes there actually. Correct. So is there any legacy creation? The answer is no. There is no legacy creation. जब हम बोलते हैं नौकरी में भी, like नौकरी में there is no legacy creation. Even in traditional business, actually देखा जाए, there is no legacy creation. Right. So this is what a traditional business is. Okay. So these are the realities. It's not that you can't make money. Obviously, you can make money. There are people who are making money. It's not at all I'm saying that, right? But these are the various realities of a traditional business. Now let's look at, okay, another more. What is any guarantee? Right? So then is there any guarantee? No, right? Like I told you, you can lose everything in 1 year's time. Okay, and there are so many factors, right? Okay, there maybe like COVID came, GST came, okay, the demonetization happened. Okay, everything affected the traditional business. There may be a macroeconomic political scenario, whatever. Correct? Okay. And on top of it, if let's say आप बोलते हो नहीं, there are businesses जहाँ पे investment ज़्यादा नहीं है. Okay, हो सकता है. But if you see most of the traditional businesses जहाँ पे investment ज़्यादा नहीं है, right, then it will not even have the potential to make big money. So the earning potential will be negligible. अगर आप बोलते हो there is a business जहाँ पे 4-5 लाख रुपए में शुरू हो सकता है, तो maybe you can't even make 1 lakh rupees a month in that. Unlikely. Okay. So now let's look at option B, which is QNet. So on one side is a traditional business. Now let's compare this with option B, which is QNet, the business that we have started. So यहाँ पे भी हम लेते हैं profit 1 lakh rupees a month as of now, which is not the case. I'll show it in the next slide, right? Let's say 1 lakh rupees a month, again 15 lakh rupees a year. Turnover not applicable. Okay, it's irrelevant in our case. Investment zero because you bought a product. There's no investment. Correct? आपने product खरीद के शुरू किया है ना? Right? It's like you bought a Samsung TV. Don't you say you invested in that TV? No, you just bought a TV. So here you bought a holiday package or something. Okay. So investment is zero. Again, rotation is not relevant over here. So let's see what all it takes to setting up the business in QNet. So सबसे पहले क्या चाहिए? Goals चाहिए आपके. So you don't need a outstanding idea or a unique idea. Okay, some special idea. Right? What you need is you need to have a very clear-cut goals. I'm sure a lot of you, when you saw the plan, the first thing what told to you was that, what are your goals? What is your reason, right? Correct? So your goals has to be very clear. Because ultimately, whatever we are doing to achieve those goals. Right? Second, you're buying a product. So there is no investment. Okay. So your startup capital is what? Your startup capital is basically an expense. It's a product purchase, which you will consume for your own benefit. Right? Then what are the infrastructure required? You need Wi-Fi. Okay. आजकल सबके घर में Wi-Fi है. Correct? Okay. I think wife के बिना चल जाता, but Wi-Fi के बिना नहीं चलता आजकल. Correct? Right? So that's the reality, right? Okay. Then second, what you need is a laptop. Again, everybody has a laptop. And third is phone. Right? So if you see here, whatever we have, उसी से हो जाता है business. We don't need to have anything special actually, right? Correct? Now, let's come to the realities of our business, of QNet. So, time कितना चाहिए? To start with 25 घंटे हफ्ते का. This is what is required. Correct? This was what I was told. 3 hours a day, 3 to 4 hours a day. Initially, IIP, ये वो, like these modules are going. You are attending YNM, ERS, right? Average 2-3 घंटा जा रहा है आपका. Correct? So 25 hours a week. Then obviously you have to acquire certain skills, right? Every business has certain skills. So obviously our business also has certain skills, but then we also have the avenues where we teach those skills, right? Like a lot of you who will get into the IIP, right? So IAP is nothing but a 20 days program where the skills will be taught to you, right? So if you're open to change, if you're open to learn, these are very, very learnable skills, no rocket science. I'm sure most of you would have had, tougher degrees that you have cracked in your life. So these, all these things that I'm talking about are fairly simple, much more easier compared to whatever you had done in life. Like my MBA was far more tougher than, what you learn in the 21 days program. Correct? A lot of you are engineers, right? How many engineers? Okay, I'm sure the engineers, all the engineers would have done much tougher thing in those 4 years than what you learn in these 21 days, right? Then one big thing that I look at is the support system that we have over here, the mentorship program, right? So in QNet, you are getting a complete guidance. You're getting a hand-holding, right? Correct? It's like, for example, let's say you want to climb the Mount Everest, right? So one is that you go alone. Can you reach Mount Everest? You just go out of your house. Kal subah saman leke nikal jate. It will take you years, right? You don't even know you will reach Mount Everest or not. But if you have a guide, will train you how to do mountaineering. First, वो आपको सिखाएगा mountaineering कैसे करते हैं, right? So if you have a guide, it becomes so much more easier, right? Correct? Okay. Like when you go to the gym, when you have a trainer, you have a coach, it becomes so much more easier, right, to learn it, right? So QNet में the best part is that you get a, you get a mentor, you get an amazing support structure, right? Like, and that too from successful people. Like here, we are getting guidance from we partner Sachin, Bijoy Da, all these people are guiding us. Correct? Okay. Now let's understand this. In a traditional business, what is happening? Most of the people, okay, let's say, for example, you want to start a restaurant. Now, in your area, are there restaurants who are just doing well? Of course, there will be restaurants who are doing well. Now, that owner of the restaurant, does he have any interest in your success? No, right? Because the day you are successful is your competition to him, right? Correct? Okay. So there are people who are successful in that field, but they have no interest in your progress, because if you progress, you are a competition to them. But here, it's a collaborative environment, right? So if you're doing well, it's good for us, no? Correct? Right? So, that's a huge plus the way I look at it. Right? So there's no hit and trial. Okay. Here, the road is already laid out. Okay. It is already, पूरा डायरेक्शन है, आपको सीधा जाना है. जैसे गूगल, हम सब गूगल मैप लेके जाते हैं ना आजकल. Wherever we go, we put a Google map, right? So Google map says now in 100 meters take a right. Okay, in 500 meters take a left. It completely gives us the direction, right? Correct. But again, if you see, it is up to us whether we are following the direction or not, right? So in this journey, if you are willing to follow the direction, there's no hit and try. Like we say, it's a 4 to 5 years journey. Correct? Rather done well, it can be done in 2 to 3 years also today. The kind of direction we have, the kind of environment we have, 2 से 3 साल में हो सकता है. Okay? Break even, immediate, right? The moment you bought a product, you are breaking even, right? Right? So in traditional business, you have to recover the money. But here, you have already recovered the money. Why? Because there's no investment. You have bought a product. So break even is instantaneous, right? Okay, scalability. This is a big difference. So our business is a global business, right? It is so much scalable, right? Now, what happens if you're, like, for example, tomorrow, you might have a business across the world. If you see in QNet, everybody says good morning. हम हमेशा good morning क्यों बोलते हैं? Like मैं अभी login करके क्या बोला? Good evening तो नहीं बोला ना? Good morning बोला, right? Do you know why we say good morning? Because very simple. कल ना आप ऐसा network बनाओगे कि you would be sleeping, okay, but somebody in Canada would be working. You would be sleeping, but somebody in US would be working. So कहीं ना कहीं सुबह है ना, right? जैसे ब्रिटिश एम्पायर बोलते हैं ना, the sun never sets in the British Empire. Same over here. Okay, the objective is you have to build such a nice global business, global network, that कहीं ना कहीं सूरज उगा होगा. That's the reason we say good morning, guys, and that's the example of scalability. Right? It's a massively scalable business. Okay, and Uplines are involved in all activities. The tremendous amount of hand holding we are getting. आपको अकेले कुछ नहीं करना है. पहले IIP, then your uplines will sit with you. They'll guide you even to make the calls, how to do the calls, right? Actually बोलता हूँ बहुत ज्यादा स्पून फीडिंग हो जाता है यहाँ पे. करेक्ट. जैसे बच्चों को नर्सरी के बच्चों का हैंड होल्ड किया जाता है ना आजकल, राइट? So exactly it is like that over here. Okay. Rather, if you ask me, जो हमारा 21 days का induction program है, I think a lot of corporates don't give 21 days induction program these days, right? You join and you are expected to deliver from week 2. Correct. But यहाँ पे the kind of the investment that is going on in people, the kind of infrastructure we have built to groom people is so amazing, right? And at every step you are being guided. Okay. And here everything is system centric. It is nothing to do with person. It's not a person who is driving this. Okay, we have created a system, right? Okay, it's a team which is working together. Correct. So tomorrow, let's say you create a system and you want to travel the world for a year. It's okay. There are you have a team that is working, right? Correct. Like our Bijoyda, right? Bijoyda was retired for good 5-6 years. He worked for 4 years, built it very strong, took a retirement for 6 years, got bored. Now he's come back again working. Right? ये यहीं पे हो सकता है. Correct? This can only happen here. Okay. So again, if you ask me what appealed to me is this system-centric approach, right? But that's how we can live a good life. Correct. And trust me, guys, this is amazing. The real world business school. This is a real world business school. यहाँ पे ना, you learn business. Now let's understand one thing, that we are not natural entrepreneurs, right? Our education system taught us what? How to be an employee, correct? Right? Even like I did my MBA. MBA में हमको क्या सिखाएगा? नौकरी कैसे पाना है? MBA में business management करते हैं, right? But business करना नहीं सिखाते हैं. नौकरी करना सिखाते हैं. Right? But this is a place where you learn how to do a business, how to handle a business. Okay. And what is the risk? Every business has a risk. Again, the risk over here is the opportunity, right? तो हम बोलते हैं ना 4 से 5 करोड़ कमाने का opportunity है. The only risk is that if this business doesn't work, so your money is safe, right? You have already got a product. Worst case क्या है? अगर आपका business नहीं चला, you'll go on a vacation. Correct? So are you losing anything? No. So what you are losing? What you are losing is 4 to 5 crores a year, right? Correct? Now tell me one thing. If let's say a small kid, okay, 5 साल का बच्चा है, okay, उसको मैं ये दोनों ऑप्शन दूंगा, वो क्या चूज करेगा? Option B, right? It's a no-brainer. Correct, right? And that's the way I look at it, right? So like I told you, like when I was exploring, I had so many opportunities, right? Like I could have started my own business in banking. I could have started my own small domestic BPO. That was an option I was exploring back then. I was exploring to start my own DSA, right? But why did I choose QNet eventually? Is because of this. Okay, so I have friends who are running DSAs and all. वो दिन भर लगे रहते हैं. Correct? Okay. So this is what option B has given me today. Now, a few more things. So option A, अब यहाँ पे पहले मैंने क्या बोला? 1 लाख का हमने बात किया ना, 1 लाख महीने का. Now let's say you want to start a business जहाँ पे you want to make a profit of $1 million. You are not thinking small. You're not a 1 lakh a month kind of a person. You're thinking big. $1 million profit. Now let's see, to do that, let's compare with QNet. So QNet का potential भी $1 million है, around 8 crore, right? Now अगर आपको $1 billion profit का business खोलना है, traditional business खोलना है, now you tell me what's the kind of investment that is required? मतलब 8 crore का अगर profit बनाना है आपको, right? तो आपको कितना investment चाहिए? 30 से 40 crore का investment चाहिए ना? You need 30 to 40 crores of investment. Correct? And how will you get it? Maybe you'll have to take a bank loan, right? So you're like, getting into a well, right? Well of debt. Okay. And what is the investment over here? Zero. You're buying a product. Then in this, what is the break-even period? At least 5 to 6 years. Like you take a McDonald's franchisee का मोटा मोटी इतना लगता है, close to $1 million. Okay. 5-6 साल का break-even है. यहाँ पे already get the product. यहाँ पे you are working 24/7, right? जब 30 से 40 करोड़ धंधे में डालते हो, how long do you have to work? It's no more as 8 hours work, right? It's a 24/7 work. Here, we're talking about 25 hours a week, right? Then in option A, you're employing someone. In option B, you are empowering someone. So what do I mean by that? So if you look at this, let's say you start a business, traditional business, जहाँ पे आपके 100 employee, like it's a decent business, right? 100 employees, मतलब it's a decent business, right? Now understand, 100 employees working 10 hours a day. You have how many? You have 1,000 man hours a day. Time is money, right? Correct. But in option B, let's say you have 1,000 associates who are working 4 hours a day. Okay. You have 4,000 man hours a day. Correct. Now let's understand this 100 employees, if you're paying 50,000 per employee, well, every month beginning, you're paying 50 lakh ka salary, na? Right? Matlab, and this is one of the biggest headache I've seen with my friends who are into businesses. Like COVID and all, they are worried how to pay people. Right? एक तारीख को तनख्वाह कैसे देंगे, salary कैसे देंगे? This is one of the biggest headache for any company, right? For any business, traditional businessman. How do I pay the salaries on first? But यहाँ पे zero cost, right? We don't have to pay salaries to anybody. So what essentially we are doing? Yes, we are employing someone, empowering someone. But how? So in this, in a traditional business, I am employing someone, I am helping someone run his family by earning maybe 50,000 rupees a month, right? Like I told you, this 100 employees, maybe I'm paying 50,000 rupees a month. Okay. So obviously I'm helping that person earning 50,000 rupees a month. I'm helping somebody to run the family. But I'm helping to what extent? Maybe 50,000 rupees a month. But in this, I'm teaching someone to earn 10 lakh rupees a month. Correct? That's the difference we are talking about. Okay. Now let's compare this with a profession or a job. Okay. Like most of us come from a job background. Correct. Okay. Now let's understand, to come to this level of where we are getting a job. So can you get a job like that? No, you have to go through an education process. Now let's understand, today the education process is not free. There's a lot of money that is going into education, correct? How much? I think, I know I did a ballpark calculation, about 60 to 70 lakhs is what is being spent on an 18 years education. Okay. There was an article in Economic Times which said the average is 1 crore actually. I have taken it on a lower side. The average education for a kid today, by the time he graduates, okay, postgraduates, is 1 crore. So what is the calculation over here? So mota school fees, can we say 2 lakh rupees a year? I'm taking on a decent 2 lakh rupees a year is decent, right? So 24 lakhs to यही हो गया साल, मतलब 12 साल, 12 till class 12, okay, around 24-25 lakh rupees. Then college is about 6 to 10 lakh rupees a year. So that's about 25 to 40 lakh rupees. Postgraduate, MBA and all, I'm taking 10 to 11 lakhs, which is actually much more, right? So 2 years program, 20 lakhs. So that's how I come to this figure of 60 to 70 lakhs. But like I told you, I think it's way beyond that today, close to 1 crore, decent education. So let's understand that and what's the typical starting salary today? I don't know. I'm off the corporate world for a long time, right? But I feel what engineers, maybe 1 lakh rupees a month. I don't know. Starting salary. Correct. So somebody's making 1 lakh rupees a month also. We are talking about investing about close to 70-80 lakhs rupees to earn a salary of 1 lakh rupees a month. Right. Or 12 lakh rupees a year. Correct. Now, before I proceed, I want to talk about something. See, we all started this journey to make money, correct? Okay. Now, there's something called financial health. Now, let's understand what is the financial health today. So, what is financial health today? Now, what is the situation today? Let's understand. So, let's understand basically हो क्या रहा है आज के डेट में. तो हम ना फाइनेंशियल हेल्थ के बारे में थोड़ा बात करते हैं. नाउ फाइनेंशियल हेल्थ इज नथिंग बट समथिंग कॉल्ड नेट वर्थ. ओके, सो लेट मी एक्सप्लेन व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ नेट वर्थ. सो नेट वर्थ का मतलब है बहुत सिंपल. लेट्स से आज टुडे इफ आई वर टू डाई, ओके, तो आज मुझे पैसे देने हैं लोगों को या लोगों से पैसे लेने हैं. मतलब क्या, इमेजिन कीजिए कि लेट्स से आई हैव a housing loan of 1 crore, okay, which I have to pay to the bank, obviously, right? If I have a loan, okay, I have to pay to the bank. And let's say I have FDs worth 10 lakh rupees. FD है मेरे पास 10 लाख रुपए का. And today I am no more. So मतलब क्या? Bank will pay me 10 lakh rupees, but I have to pay the bank 1 crore, right? So I'm in a negative of 90 lakhs, correct? So what is my net worth? My net worth is minus 90 lakhs. Am I making sense? समझ में आ रहा है? Okay. So वहीं पे let's say एक भिखारी है, बेगर है. So the beggar has no loans, right? Correct? उसका कोई लोन वोन नहीं है. Maybe he has a small bank account जहां पे उसका 1 लाख रुपया पड़ा हुआ है. And that beggar is suppose let's say he dies, okay? So क्या उसको 1 लाख रुपया मिलेगा ना बैंक से? तो his net worth is positive, right? 1 lakh positive. Okay. So net worth is basically assets minus liabilities. So what are your assets minus your liabilities? अगर वो पॉजिटिव है तो ये नेटवर्थ इज पॉजिटिव. अगर वो नेगेटिव है नेटवर्थ इज नेगेटिव. जीरो मतलब ना किसी से लेना है ना किसी को देना है. यू आर न्यूट्रल. ओके, नाउ इफ आई लुक एट द वर्ल्ड, ओके, so if you ask me, 99% are in the negative net worth today. Only about 0.9% are neutral. Only 0.1% is positive. Now I'll tell you from my experience what was my life, what my life has been. So I started my career in June 2002. Okay, मेरी पहली नौकरी लगी जीई में June 2002. 1st of June I joined, and 1st of July I got my first salary. Right? So my first salary, I remember, my take home was about 20,000 something. So what was my net worth on 1st of July 2002? Positive, right? 20,000 was my net worth. Correct. But क्या हुआ? Month end तक मैंने सारा खर्चा कर दिया. I had an education loan. I had to support my family, my rent, this, that. पहला सैलरी भी पार्टी भी करना था दोस्तों के साथ. करेक्ट. सो मंथ एंड तक क्या हुआ? 25 तारीख तक इट वाज जीरो. ओके, देन 1st of August अगेन पॉजिटिव नेटवर्थ. मंथ एंड तक फिर से जीरो. ओके, फिर सैलरी आई, फिर खत्म हो गई. फिर सैलरी आई, फिर खत्म हो गई. ओके, सो नेटवर्थ पॉजिटिव करते करते कुछ महीने निकल गए ना. तब तक मेरे को साल मतलब ऑलमोस्ट 6-7 months हो गया था. ओके, देन I was posted as area sales manager to Jalandhar, and I was thinking of buying a bike, right? But my subordinate said ki, why buy a bike? Okay, sir, you buy a car. Okay, so I said, okay, let me buy a car. So how to buy a car? So I remember 2002 end I bought a Santro Zing नया launch हुआ था. Okay, but my salary was only 20,000 rupees a month. How to buy a Santro? What I think that time it was 3.6 lakhs. So I was in a bank. Correct. So what I did? I took a bank loan. So गाड़ी खरीदनी थी. I took a bank loan. The moment I took a bank loan, what happened? My net worth was what? Minus 3.6 lakh rupees. Correct? Right? But क्या तब तक मैं थोड़ा ASM बन गया था, तो my salary had gone up. So again month starting salary आई, month end तक ये. Okay, so salary, got the salary, spend the salary. So ये चलता रहा लाइफ में. So if you see यहाँ से मेरा इनकम बढ़ गया, but I am at a negative net worth right now. Okay, इधर पेरेंट्स आर प्राउड, हाँ बेटा गाड़ी चला रहा है. ओके, गाड़ी मतलब कार खरीद लिया बेटे ने. ओके, सो पेरेंट्स आर वेरी प्राउड, बट हियर आई हैव गॉन ऑन अ नेगेटिव. देन आई गेट मैरिड, एंड आफ्टर मैरिज बीवी ने बोला तेरे घर तो होना चाहिए अपना, राइट? 2 BHK ही हो, अपना घर होना चाहिए. करेक्ट, मतलब बात तो सही है, अपना घर होना चाहिए. सबसे पहले मिडिल क्लास फैमिली में क्या बोलते हैं? Am I audible? Am I audible? Can I get a thumbs up? Okay, perfect. Okay, so अब घर तो खरीदना चाहिए. Okay, मिडिल क्लास में सबसे बोलते हैं ना, घर खरीदो जितना जल्दी हो सके. Okay, so I bought my first house. How? Again, I took a loan. Right? So what happened? My loan was big now, right? Correct? So zoop और नीचे चला गया और गड्ढे में चला गया. And if you see what happens to a normal person, a typical housing loan is for how many years? 20 years. Correct? So if you see, आज के डेट में क्या हो रहा है? A person starts his career at 23, 24. Okay? चलो 27-28 में उसने गाड़ी खरीद ली, शादी करते हैं. And what's the average time person buys a house? About 30 years, 30, 32 person buys a house typically, right? And this, the EMI goes on for 20 years, right? Now, after 20 years, finally, he's repaid the housing loan, correct? And suddenly at the age of 52, 53, he is now finally positive net worth, right? Correct? 50 साल के उम्र में positive net worth हुआ. But you know what happens at the age of 50? When you're 50, 52, your kids now have grown. They have graduated now. Now they want to go for the higher studies, right? और आजकल सबको बाहर जाना है पढ़ाई करने ना, किसी को कनाडा जाना है, किसी को ऑस्ट्रेलिया जाना है, right? Correct. So how do you send? So at the age of 52, the only way to send the kids for higher studies is you again take an education loan, right? And this loan is big, maybe 50 lakhs or a crore kind of a loan. But just when you became positive, right, suddenly you are again burdened with a loan, which is not going to finish most likely by the time you retire. So what happens? So your kids, when they start from the negative net worth. So shayad our generation, we started at zero net worth, right? Correct. But if you see today, most kids are starting with a negative net worth because they're starting with an education loan on their head, right? So would you agree that this is the legacy most people are passing on? So the parents are starting, as per the middle class mindset, we are rich, but what you're passing on is a negative net worth. हम गड्ढे में जाते रह रहे हैं. And this is what I realized over a period of time. So today, if you see, rich doesn't necessarily mean he's a positive net worth. Correct? A rich person may be deep in the well, actually, right? Correct? So if you look at the financial health, let's look at somebody who's a fresher, right? Just started the career, 1 lakh rupees a month kind of a salary, like I told you. So annual salary 12 lakhs, monthly salary 1 lakh. But if the salary is 1 lakh, what is his take home? So 30% कहाँ जाता है? So who is your best friend? Your best friend is the finance minister, right? You pay her first. Madam को pay करके फिर जो आता है account में, right? 70,000 comes to her account. Now, a person who is earning 1 lakh, do you agree these days everybody wants a small car? Right? Maybe a Swift or something, I don't know. Okay. So he'll have a car EMI, 12,000 rupees. Right? Maybe he buys a small house. because घर तो सबको खरीदना है, मिडिल क्लास में सबको सबसे पहले पेरेंट्स बोलते हैं घर खरीदो, चाहे छोटा सा ही फ्लैट हो, 1 BHK क्यों ना हो. ओके, सो दैट 30 लाख लेट्स से 30 lakhs का फ्लैट खरीदा उसने. ओके, इन ए नॉन मेट्रो, 25 lakhs का लोन, 25,000 का EMI. Household expense, let's say 15,000 rupees, grocery, this, that, electricity bill, Wi-Fi bill, mobile bill, correct? 15,000 rupees. This person will definitely party and all weekend पे. इतना काम करता, party तो करना बनता है. Spend time with family, friends, go out for a drink, maybe. Okay. And today, if you see, whenever you go out, 1,000-1,500 कहाँ से निकल जाता है पता ही नहीं चलता है. Correct. And if somebody is drinking, then the bill is, I don't drink, so I don't know, but I think कोई drink करता तो it's easily 2,000 rupees, right? Correct. So recreation, let's say 10,000 rupees, including vacations and all. Okay, साल में एक आधा कहीं घूमने जाएगा. Okay. So if you see, सब मिला के, his expenses are already 67,000 rupees, right? Roughly 65, 67,000. So what are the savings and how much does he have to invest? Now this is for a fresher I'm talking about. Now let's look at somebody who has a decent annual package of 40 lakh rupees. Okay, मतलब 10 साल हो गए हैं, डिसेंट पोजीशन पे पहुंच गया है, 40 लाख कमा रहा है, मंथली सैलरी इज 3.3 लाख, बट नेट सैलरी कितना है? अगेन दिस पर्सन इज पेइंग 1 लाख रुपीज एज टैक्सेस, राइट? सो हाथ में कितना आ रहा है? 2.3, करेक्ट? नाउ दिस पर्सन हु इज अर्निंग 40 lakhs a year, maybe he's at a senior manager, AVP kind of a role. Do you think he'll drive a Swift? No, right? He'll be driving at least a Creta or a Honda City or something like that. Correct? 15-20 लाख की गाड़ी तो होगी. So that car EMI will be at least 30,000 rupees. Even मैं बोल रहा हूँ 12-13 लाख का लोन है. Okay, 30,000 will be 30,000 rupees will be the car EMI. Okay. Now, obviously, he can't stay in that small flat he bought. Maybe he would have sold off that flat, use that money to make a down payment, and take another loan of, like today, if I look at Bangalore and all, a decent 3 BHK, okay, is actually close to 2 crores, right? 1.5, 2 crores, right? तो अगर आप उसमें 1.25 lakhs का भी 1.25 crores का भी लोन ले रहे हो, आपने पुराना घर बेच के 25-30 लाख का डाउन पेमेंट किया, राइट? एंड 1.25 crores का आपने लोन लिया, तो 1,25,000 का तो EMI आएगा, right? Then household expenses would have gone back. Why? Because now you are married, you have kids. Okay. So household expenses 15,000 था, 25,000 हो गया है. Then the recreation is 10,000 लेके चल रहा है. School fees will be at least 15,000 rupees a month. 2 बच्चों का मैं लेके चल रहा हूँ. 2 kids, 15,000 rupees a month. Business away 10,000. So if you see even this person, net of EMIs and all, okay, he's hardly saving up or investing. He has 18,000 rupees, 18 to 20,000 rupees that he can play around with in mutual funds or whatever. Correct? So with this, do you really think we are progressing towards retirement? Is retirement possible? The kind of expenses we have. Correct? Now, what are the realities of a job? Let's look at. सबसे पहले, is there any guarantee? तो आदमी नौकरी क्यों करता है? सेफ्टी के लिए ना, एक सिक्योरिटी है. पर ऑनेस्टली बताइए, is there any guarantee in jobs today? No, right? And we are again heading towards so-called another recession, right? And we are seeing the world, what the kind of news that are pouring in. Okay, India is relatively better, right? But there are no guarantees in a job today, right? Correct? So it's काफी हद तक तो it's about recovering the education cost, right? जो हमने education में खर्चा किया, काफी लोग तो MBA, like somebody, I know a few friends of mine, he did another international MBA. International MBAs are costing about 60-70 lakh rupees, right? So 3-4 साल तो लग जाते हैं उसको रिकवर करने में, just to recover that money, right? What about work-life balance? What are the working hours? So I don't know what is the situation now. I'm telling you, 10 years back when I was in the corporate, I had crazy working hours. I used to work practically 12 hours a day plus travel time, right? In metro, like Bombay, I used to work. I was in Bombay. Now my office was in Worli. And my office, I'm telling 2010, I'm talking about the 2 BHK, which was next to my office in Worli. That time the rental was about 70-80,000 rupees. So somebody like me couldn't afford to stay in a Worli, right? I had to stay in Goregaon. Correct? So 1.5 hours going, 1.5 hours coming. Okay, so 12 hours of work plus 3 hours of travel. 15 to 16 hours is what I used to spend outside the home, right? So by the time I used to come, I was already gone. Correct? Right? Then most of us are what? Now, honestly tell me that how many of you are excited to go to office on a Monday morning? Monday morning है, office जाना है. नहीं, right? एक statistic मैं बताता हूँ. अब check कर लेना कभी. Most heart attacks happen on a Monday morning. Do you know that? Even दिल भी बोलता है हमें क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए. Correct? Because we are driven by negative motivation, right? Correct? डंडे पे तो drive होता है ना. Right? Okay. Then another truth about the corporate world is that there is a glass ceiling waiting for everybody, right? बोलते ना, there is this, somebody is moving very fast, but understand, ऊपर तक glass ceiling है ना, जो धीरे जाएगा वो ज्यादा टाइम में पहुंचेगा, जो जल्दी भागेगा वो जल्दी हिट करेगा. So the growth is limited, right? There's a let's say there's a company of 1,000 employees. कितने सीईओ बनेंगे उस कंपनी में? एक ही तो बनेगा ना. कोई मैनेजर में अटक जाएगा, कोई एवीपी में अटक जाएगा, कोई वीपी में अटक जाएगा, राइट? एंड एक दिन फ्रस्ट्रेट होकर नौकरी छोड़ देते हैं, राइट? सो दे ग्लास सीलिंग वेटिंग फॉर एवरीबॉडी, राइट? करेक्ट. एंड आई डोंट नो बट दिस इज समथिंग I always try to stay away is politics, right? You step over the others to move up. Correct? होता है. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced politics, right? Now politics क्यों होता है? Because वहां पे एक कुर्सी के पीछे 4 लोग भाग रहे हैं ना, तभी तो politics होता है, right? And in today's world, I think with especially AI coming in, the constant skill upgradation required, right? Correct? Like I was the other day hearing that all of you know Chat GPT, right? So I think Chat GPT, the way it is, what I understand about Chat GPT, I think 70 to 80% of customer service work will be done by Chat GPT, right? Like Air India is working on Chat GPT to handle the customer service. Okay. With pilotless driverless car coming in, look at how many drivers will lose their jobs, right? A lot of the software engineers, like coding, can be done with AI, the way we look at it. Correct? So today, to stay in wherever we are, right, we need constant skill upgradation. Else we will become dinosaurs in today's world, right? So that's the reality of a job today. Okay. Like most of us don't even know 5 years down the line, my skill will be relevant or not, right? Correct. So that's the reality today. Okay. And what are the job opportunities in the future? So maybe I've already invested 20 years in an industry. I have a certain skill, but can I guarantee this skill is valid for another 5 years? I don't know. The way technology is progressing, nobody knows. Right? And is there any legacy creation? Answer is no. We know that there's no legacy creation in a job. You may retire as a CEO of your company, but where will your son or daughter start? Again from zero, right? Correct. And it's incremental growth. What we talk about is maybe 5 to 10% of hike every year, right? That's all we are talking about. Correct. And if you look at a professional like a chartered accountant, a doctor, a lawyer, again, right, is the same thing actually. If you see, I don't see a difference between a self-employed and a professional. Same, the dynamics are same. You may be a top-notch lawyer, but tomorrow your son or daughter doesn't want to take it up, it's gone. Like I know doctors who build nursing homes and all, but their kids were not interested in being a doctor. So nursing homes has been closed today since they have retired. Okay. So now let's look at QNet again. Now let's say current income, your income is 0, but next 5 years, if you do it properly, we're talking about earning 8 lakh rupees a week at a gold star level. I'm not even talking about a platinum or a diamond. At a gold star level, we're talking about earning 4.2 crores a year. Inflation, does it matter? No, right? Like if you look at a job, the inflation kills it, right? Correct? Honestly बताओ, salary कितना बढ़ता है? I don't know, about let's say 7-8% बढ़ रहा है, 10%. But अगर हम देखें, like I was just seeing an article, Bangalore, the rents have doubled in the last 2 years. So salary बढ़ा 10%, but rents have doubled. If you look at school fees तो standard 10% बढ़ता है हर साल, right? Correct? Okay. So if you see, everything is going up more than 10%, but his salary is going up by 10%. Correct? But let me tell you, tell me, if you're earning 4.2 crores a year, do you think it matters? No, right? Inflation will not even pinch you. Now, what are the realities of QNet? First, it can be done with a job. Like traditional business, can you do with a job? No. But this can be done with a job. नौकरी के साथ, मैंने भी नौकरी के साथ ही किया था ना 14 महीने. I did 14 months along with my job. Right? Then one of the big thing is we are beneficiaries of others' mistakes. So your IIP bana hai, all these things, right? It is like, all like Sachin's 14 years Bijoy is 13, 14 years. Now, all these people, the people who are very successful, right? All their learnings are squeezed into this 21 days program, right? So you are benefiting from the experience of so much of knowledge that is there, right? Correct? You just plug and play, jisko bolte hain. Okay. No, there's no insecurity, right? Okay. Bindas kaam karna hai. Okay. Seekhna hai. There's no insecurity, right? No prior education required. So we have people like somebody who is class 8 pass only. He or she is a diamond max out in the earning crores plus today. Okay. So we have all kind of, we have housewives, we have class 8 pass out, we have MBS from Harvard, like Dev Advani, V partner Dev Advani is from Harvard. Okay. VC Midulaj is like just class 8 pass, but then look at him today. He's an inspiration for all of us. So koi matter nahi karta kya background hai kisi ka. You know, we have somebody called Tubeng in Indonesia. He used to sell coffee on the streets. And one point of time, he was the highest earner in QNet. Right? So these are inspirations, right? So your background, your education qualification, which country you come from, doesn't matter. Correct? But if you look at the corporate world, those things matter. Right? If you're an MBA from an IIM, you'll have a different career path. You're an MBA from a CAT-B institute, you'll have a different career path. Correct? But here, everybody is same. It's a level playing field. And how you do it? You follow successful people 100%. That's the key to success. Like there's an old saying, na, when you see success, don't question, copy it. Right? Yes. What you have to sacrifice is, thoda kam sona padega, you have to sleep less. Sacrifice on a few entertainment. Like if you ask me, my first 14 months in the business, right? I actually cut down on my sleep. I stopped watching movies. I was a big cricket fan. Stopped watching cricket. Right? I did miss out on a few marriages in my family. Like that point of time, I'm talking about 12 years back. 3 of my cousins got married my first 2 years of business. I didn't attend any of their weddings because I was so clear I have to build this right. Right. But 2 साल ना जम के काम करना पड़ेगा. 2 years. Okay. So 2 years, little bit of this kind of sacrifice. जो लगता भी नहीं sacrifice when we look back. It's all fun. Okay. And we need a lot of hunger to succeed. That's the reality actually. Okay. Hunger है तो ठीक है. जिसका hunger नहीं है, then those are the, so there's no failure. Nobody fails over here. So nobody fails in this business. It's only people who quit the business. So one thing I'm telling you that if you don't quit, अब लगे रहोगे तो हो जाएगा ना. If you're hungry to learn, hungry for success, and you decide not to quit, then it will happen. That's the reality. And I'm telling you one thing, enormous personal growth. See, this is a platform where you will grow emotionally, mentally, financially, and spiritually on all these 4 parameters. Like corporate world can give you growth in terms of mental growth and maybe financial growth, obviously. But here you get all the 4 growths. Yes, you need to have a delayed gratification mindset. Because again, the kind of background we come from, we are addicted to the 30-day salary, right? वो 1 तारीख को तनख्वाह, बोलो 1 तारीख को तनख्वाह था, अगर 2 दिन लेट हो जाता तो परेशान हो जाते हैं ना. So you see, no, we are addicted to that 30 days का payout. Now that can be, that's an instant gratification mindset, right? But here you need to have a delayed gratification mindset. It's okay, अगर 2-3 महीना नहीं बना तो it's okay. If you ask me personally, I didn't make much money in the first 7-8 months, hardly anything. पहला 7-8 महीने मेरा कुछ नहीं बना था खास. Right? But I was like working. And in the next 6 months, I could build it and quit my job actually. 14 months, I quit my job. Correct? So what you need is patience, loads of hard work, and obviously we need discipline. Okay. Again, छोटा बच्चा उसको दिखा दो दोनों option, right? And let him choose. It's a no-brainer actually. Correct? So if you see, these are the 4 options. So when I say A, B, P, Q, okay. So option A is what? Traditional business. B is what? QNet. Okay. P is what? P is your profession or job. Q is QNet. Correct? So, what? So these are the options that I had in life. For me, obviously, I'm sitting over here, so I've chosen QNet. And I told you the reason why I chose QNet. That's what I shared with you, why I chose QNet. Right? And like I told you that today we are living in an era where there's no dearth of opportunities. We have so many options. Correct? And I showed you all the plus minuses of all the options. So I made the decision. It's up to you to make your choice today. Okay. Now, when I say choice, see, you've already started in QNet. I agree. All of you have started over here. Correct. But you know what? There are two decisions actually. There's a decision to start the business and there's a decision to do the business. These are two different decisions. शुरू करना और करना दो अलग decision होता है. So a lot of you have taken a decision to start the business. But आप check कीजिए, have you taken a decision to do the business? Correct. So there was a point I took the decision to do the business aggressively. अब देखो इसको आप आराम से भी कर सकते हो. There's no gun on your head कि अच्छे से कर, मतलब जल्दी करना है. आप इसको जल्दी भी कर सकते हो. Okay. Now I'll tell you why is it that me, all like Sachin, Bijoy, Manish, Shantanu, okay. Why is it all of us when we started, we took the fast track approach? I'll tell you why. Okay. Now for that, all of you have a pen and paper, right? I want to draw a line. एक line draw कीजिए. ठीक है? And let's say the starting is when you are born. Correct? Now tell me one thing, यहाँ पे कोई है जो अमर है? Immortal तो कोई नहीं है ना? We all have expiry date, right? Correct? There's a day we'll leave the earth, correct? Okay? So there's a day we'll all die. Now, I want you to put a dot. So this is when you are born. This is when you are about to die. Let's say, okay? Put a dot where do you think you are? एक dot कीजिए. Where do you think you are today? आज आप कहाँ पे हैं? जैसे अगर आपको लगता है कि आप कहीं बीच में हो, तो ऐसे एक डॉट डाल दिए बीच में. डाल दिया आपने? You put it? Correct? So how many of you put it in the middle? Like this? कि maybe I'm, मैं तो 30 साल का हूं, अभी भी है 30-40 साल. Correct? Now tell me one thing. Is there any guarantee that you are in the middle? हो सकता ना कोई यहाँ पे है. हो सकता ना कोई यहाँ पे है actually. पता ही नहीं है उसको. And we saw this in COVID, right? Correct? So tell you what, we all have options. हम decisions भी लेते हैं. पर हम उतना aggressively काम नहीं करते. हमको लगता है बहुत टाइम है. Correct? But the reason, like I told you, all of us, we took it so seriously and we gave our heart and soul to the business. We really worked hard. 2 साल का बिजनेस है, मैं बता रहा हूँ. 2-3 साल जम के काम करना है. Right? But कहीं ना कहीं we had this realization that पता नहीं कब क्या है. Let's work it. Let's do it for our families, right? यहाँ 2 साल में बन सकता है बहुत कुछ, पर उसके लिए जम के काम करना पड़ेगा. Right? So this is what I did. Okay. So thank you so much. So this is what I wanted to share with all of you. Right. And so see you all. Some of you I'll meet in IIP. And obviously we'll interact in different forums. Okay. Okay. ठीक है. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.